Solar Jetman, hunt for the golden warship. And welcome to Nostalgia, a chronological exploration of every NES game released in North America. I'm Mike.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Joe.
Solar Jetman is the third game in the Jetman series. Were you guys aware of the Jetman series?
I learned this like 10 minutes ago. I just happened to come across it while looking for my regular YouTube video I have on.
It's like,
I thought that it was like, is Jetman related to Jumpman?
No.
Is this a Mega Man game?
First off, Jumpman is
Mario.
a Mario thing, yeah.
Well, I thought maybe there'd be a Jumpman and Mega Man at some point.
Mega Man is Rockman.
But
You're
is there a
Rockman.
Jumpman bad guy in Mega Man ever, in any of the Mega Men?
Yeah, there's got to be, right?
Yeah.
I would think so.
I take it
Who
back,
was
Sean,
Jumping
you were right.
Flash on PS1?
I don't know.
It's a trivia show today. I'm just dishing out trivia as we go along. I guess it doesn't really matter that this is the third game because we don't know the other two. But I also think it's funny that, like, they didn't really make it a thing, right? This isn't Solar Jetman 3.
Yeah, it's a very casual sequel.
Right. Whereas, like, we played Ultima 3, and they weren't like, we didn't put 1 and 2 on the NES. Like, no one's going to know what's going on. Like, they trusted that people either, like, knew of Ultima or played the other games elsewhere, and now we're going to pick up, like, an NES version.
Yeah, but do you think now, like, not thinking about it, did, like, games like Ultima or even, like, Final Fantasy, like, well, I guess Final Fantasy did it right, but because they deleted some that didn't appear in the US, but, like, was that dumb? Do they lose sales because people are like, well, I didn't play Ultima 2, I can't play Ultima 3, or do people just not think of video games like that back then?
I'll tell you right now, my stupid ass, I wouldn't have bought any game that had a 3 in the title because I'd be like, well, I didn't play the first two.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't now, but back then maybe I wouldn't have thought so much about it.
The dumb voice that you apparently have in this alternate universe.
It's not a dumb voice. It's a dumb voice I used to have. I feel like I used to talk like that. Yeah, everybody did.
Yeah, that's just a baby voice.
But
It's like-
Solar
it's like
Jetman sounds kind of like a regular game on its own. It doesn't. I have no indication that there was a Solar Lunarman or Lunar Solar Jetman or stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
it's also not an RPG. It's not telling a grand story. You can just hop in and get it. You know, so even if, like, you know, bad example, but if it was like another version of Pac-Man, right? It's like, it's Pac-Man. You don't need to know how many versions came out before. You're just playing the same idea, just done a little differently. Nobody cares, like, if it's Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man, right? Like, nobody says, oh, if they would have called Miss Pac-Man Pac-Man 2, I never would have played it.
Well, I don't know what happened in Madden 21, so I haven't played any of, like, Madden 22 or 3. Since.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I was reluctant to get the PS5 because I hadn't played the PS3 or 4.
Are you able to bring the character you create in Madden 20 whatever over to the next one? Or do you have to, like, remake them every time?
I mean, you can bring in, like, players from the college game, I think, but...
That's not what I asked at all.
But no, you can't do that.
Okay, see, so don't you think that would be fun? Like, you always make Sean the Buffalo Bills quarterback, right?
I mean,
every
I
year?
did when I was a kid, but I'm not going to have a 34-year-old quarterback.
All right. Solar Jetman. A little bit of a story here for you. The Golden Warship was once the most powerful spacecraft in Solar Jetman's galactic fleet. But that was before alien space pirates ship-napped. I love that. Ship-napped. That's like, I've never heard that word before. It's immediately in my dictionary now. They ship-napped the vessel on its very last mission. What are the odds? The warship now lies disassembled and hidden throughout the galaxy. Why did they take it apart? This is like that thing in, like, Zelda where it's like, why is Ganon leaving the keys in various rooms, right? Shouldn't he just hold on to all the keys?
I mean, I think these are different situations. Like, I think, like...
You think that the
Ganon...
ship fell apart as they were, like, transporting it across the
No, I
galaxy?
think that they're trying to hide so they can never be created again. whereas I think Ganon is just very forgetful.
Yeah, maybe like they don't want to destroy it in case they ever need it, but it's too dangerous to just leave fully built anywhere because it could be stolen back and then it's an enemy. So they gotta they gotta hide it throughout the galaxy where only they know where it is.
Like if I lose my wallet, like I know that I should just start scattering all of my credit cards and like driver's license.
Yeah,
and
rather than
dollars.
canceling them or anything.
Yeah,
just scatter
make
them.
sure that they can't all be found at once.
Yeah, well, the numbers. You like
Yeah.
each digit from your credit card number should be scattered throughout the country.
I think my point stands, though. You lost the credit card. It's now the person who found it scattered the credit cards. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. They're making it harder for you. They're like, which, okay, it's fine because now we get the idea of the game, right? You're going to go to these various alien worlds and you're going to try to retrieve the pieces of the Golden Warship using Jetman's spaceship, which is not the Golden Warship. It's just some regular old space pod. The whole hook of the game, though, isn't just like fly around on these alien planets and, shoot enemies. It's not a shmup. Don't shoot up a bunch of enemies and try to like collect the piece and then bring it back to the mothership. The whole hook of the game is that this is a like physics and gravity 101 workshop on the NES where the whole thing, movement is influenced by inertia and momentum and your thruster on your ship. So please, Joe, thoughts on that?
I mean, definitely a pretty unique experience. From what we've played so far, I did boot this up thinking it was going to be a shmup, and it was pretty cool at first, just to see the physics based movement. Like it really is about every game has its own physics, but this feels like it's about the physics. You have to think about the way the gravity reacts to your ship on the first planet, which is different than the second planet, which is different than the third planet, etc. So it is not like a game where you're like, oh, I've played this kind of thing a million times and I just got to get the hang. I just got to like figure out what this one's hook is. Like this is a totally different experience than like a lot of other space-based ship games.
Yeah, I think that the easiest way to describe this game would be like just an expanded version of Asteroids. And that's great. Like I think of the very classic, very simple arcade games of yore, that's probably my favorite in terms of just like the very basic structure and like the whole physics thing. So I had a lot of fun with this game.
I'm glad you brought up Asteroid, Sean, because I actually meant to do that before talking about the, just to kind of ground everybody. So I think that's a good point. One thing that's unique, though, is like Asteroids took place in space. So your ship, once you like gave a boost, right, it just kind of traveled in that direction. And if you reached the end of the screen, it just kind of looped back to the other end of the screen. And that's cool because it wasn't just a straight line. It was like if you were going diagonal, you would wind up in the corresponding diagonal end of the other part of the screen. But for Solar Jetman, since you're exploring like this alien world, it's always like bringing you back down to the ground, and so you do kind of have this more like constant need to thrust gently too. You can't just give all your you can't just like send to 100 because then you're gonna go flying in the other direction. You're always kind of like in need of pushing yourself both with and against where you want to go, because you're not exploring an open sky. You're exploring like a cavern, a series of caves to try to find various items on these planets. And the planets don't have the same gravity. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to, like use the first level to like learn it. It's like the next one might have looser or tougher physics. So I think all these things really spice up the gameplay, even if you already got the gameplay loop on the first level.
Yeah, it's not entirely like gravity from whatever planet you're on doesn't really play that much of a factor here, which you might think, but definitely your ship is not as agile as like, the little triangle from Asteroids, and that actually might be like whenever your ship blows up, which we'll get to, how you control your guy. That might be a better analog for that. But it's not like just like trying to navigate these things with sort of like a heavy ship. Like you also are picking up objects that like via some kind of tractor beam, which are heavy as well. And not only are you then sort of fighting with that added weight, but you're also like trying to wrangle with the tension of the tractor beam. And if it's heavy enough, it may just start like pulling you. And so it's fun trying to figure out like these, like it's a problem solving. It's a much more methodical asteroids in that, where it's kind of just like, how the hell do I get out of here with this thing?
Yeah, and those things that you're towing as you pick it up, like you said, they're different weights and everything. They're also swinging.
Yeah,
and I was pretty impressed at like how, I don't know how accurate it is. It feels accurate to me, but what do I know? But like it feels like it makes a huge difference. Like when it's swinging in one direction, you got to like really correct and think about your speed when you're gonna try and stop abruptly or change directions, and then the thing is gonna swing in the other direction and pull you away. And it makes a big difference. And I would really love to see someone who is like the number one in the world at Solar Jetman just like speed run this game, because I'm sure it looks really cool, but I feel like for most people playing this game, it's all about caution.
Yeah, caution's a great point, Joe, because I think you try and go fast at first, right? The thruster is it does allow you to go pretty fast, so you do have to be careful once you enter the caves of like not hitting it too much or not throttling too much. But with the swinging of whatever you're picking up, I didn't realize at first like that the swinging, it almost makes it like impossible to move for a little bit. You have to wait for it to kind of become a straight line again, and then kind of force it in the direction you want to, not moving around like too much, because then you'll start causing it to swing again. That extra piece of the momentum is essential to the challenge of the game, because it's not enough to leave the mothership, go into the cave, find an item, but then to bring it back to the mothership via this, this rope system where you're kind of just taking it as cargo. That becomes like a whole new way of having to fight off enemies, get out of this cave, not take too much damage, because your ship has a certain amount of damage it can take, but it also has like a certain amount of fuel too.
Yeah, I really, and not only are you sort of wrangling with all these things that we've been describing, but they're like, once you get off that first rock, you've also got these sort of spheres that may be an attractor or a repulsor, and you have to deal with those. And at first I'm like, oh, I'm just screwed. Like I ran into one of these things and I can't even get away, and even I'm like trying to like wiggle back and forth and trying to get some momentum that way. And then I realized that like, oh, these things that you're picking up, like they're also sort of a progression system. And like as you're picking up parts of the ship or just objects of use, you'll get like a force field, or you'll get like a super boost, which is kind of necessary. And I really like the way that works. Like it's kind of, it's not so much binary of is my thruster on or off. Like you can also have a lot more thrust, and now it's even more like of a dance that you're trying to do. So I really like that whole progression with each object that you pick up.
Yeah, I first like I kind of had the idea that like, oh, I'll be able to upgrade my ship, but I wasn't really paying too much attention to it until I got to the second planet, I think it was, and there's actually an item that's too heavy for me, or whether it's too heavy or if it's like somehow magnetizing itself to the ground. Either way, I needed to upgrade that thruster in order to get to it. And I thought that was like, it does really feel like you're on an alien world exploring for parts. It's like that. You feel like you're a scavenger on another planet, and whenever you go away from your base, you're in danger. You have to manage your fuel. You have to find parts to repair your ship. And I don't know, it does give you that sort of like that idea that like that maybe that thing that we've all like played make believe as a kid of like a space ranger or something, like, lost on an alien planet. We all did that, right?
Absolutely.
Sure we did. There's also a lot of optional stuff on each planet too. The only things you need to move on to the next planet is the piece of the golden warship, and a proper amount of fuel for the mothership to be able to transport itself to the next planet. Everything else is optional, but there's good stuff on there because whether it's like diamonds or whatever, like there's things that you can basically accumulate enough points to then in between purchase additional weapons or equipment from the I think it's in the manual, it's referred to as the Interstellar Marketing Company Trading Post, which is cool. But you can do that stuff as well, but it's all optional. So it kind of becomes this, like how long do you want to stay on the planet? It's up to you. And also how like risky do you want to be? Because I think as Sean alluded to, if your ship does run out, it's not game over. You guys can tell me right now, but like I actually thought it was going to be game over when the ship blew up. It was a nice surprise to find out that Solar Jetman can then, like, I guess via jets in his own space suit, can like continue to try to get back to the mothership.
Yeah, the first thing that alluded to this for me, I was like, oh, something that I wonder what this is about, is on the HUD there are two separate like life counters, one of which is your ship and one of which is like an astronaut guy. And then I eventually, blew up the ship as one does, and
is the astronaut guy not Solar Jetman?
I guess that's the Solar Jetman. So
now was that exactly the like the protagonist in like the first Solar Jetman game, and now he's in a ship, and maybe like the next one, like the ship will be in a space station?
He's just Jetman, because I think the first one was just Jetman, and then the other one was like Lunar Jetman.
Yeah, the first one's just Jetpack, actually.
Oh, well,
so
that's
first,
stupid.
okay, so hear me out. First one, no suit. Second one, he's got a suit. Third one, he's in the suit in a ship. Fourth one, he's in a suit in a ship in a space station. It's gonna be like Russian dolls. We're just going to keep opening this thing. There's more things inside.
It would be cool if he was in the golden warship inside his spaceship.
Yeah.
And then the crew are just all in their own little ships talking to each other, drinking ship coffee. I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually just like a space simulator in that sense. You're just trying to build like a little colony inside the golden warship. You've already taken out all the alien enemies.
What are we describing here?
Speaking of the alien enemies, they're in every planet, in the caves, and just kind of like floating about. Are they what's difficult about the game, or is it the like don't hit the walls of the caves? Like which part is more likely to do damage to your ship?
It's symbiotic. Like they are there. Nothing's difficult. But when there's enough like turrets or some weird like snake thing or an orb that will open up and shoot you once in a while, like these are all distractions that will make you either forget to sort of turn off your thruster while you aim to shoot at them, and then your whole situation's gonna go crazy, or you have to. It's just. I like the way that it plays off like the environmental and the enemy issues together.
Yeah, I guess what I was going to say was almost the same thing, where I think that the harder part of this game is navigating the physics, but it's very hard to fight enemies while navigating the physics. The physics make the enemies hard.
In between levels, there are also that bonus game where you have like a certain amount of time to collect stuff, just as Solar Jetman. And I couldn't quite... they're diamonds. I don't think there's anything else. But I couldn't quite figure out at the end of that stage, like, is that... You're part of the Federation of Space Loonies?
Yeah.
I really like the world building here. You got the Federation of Space Loonies, you got the market. They're way ahead of time. Way ahead of their time here.
Yeah, but the Federation of Space Loonies like logo looks like it would be like a beer company or something.
Yeah,
like, it just does not look.
It's very.
It does not look like a Federation of Space Loonies to me. As far as that bonus level, I do just want to say like I might as well not even play it. Like I don't know why I'm so bad at it, but like I will never get all of those diamonds in the time limit.
Yeah, it's not a lot of time. I think that's the problem.
It's like 10 seconds, right?
It's 10 seconds for 10 gems.
Well, we've been playing this game like super methodical, trying to like adjust our vector of approach, and it's like, now do it in 10 seconds.
Right. Yeah. Give me like a practice run first, and then see if I can do it in 10 seconds.
Now, the later levels, the caves obviously start to become more narrow. The enemies become a little more aggressive. But ultimately, it's the same loop. I think the saving grace is that the scope of view that you can see at any given time in the game isn't very much. And so a lot of the game becomes exploration around these planets, and they keep getting larger and narrower, and like you kind of have to like build a map in your head. It does not require any graph paper, like it's not that kind of game, but like you do have to build a map in your head and figure out where you're going. But it also feels like you don't know what you're going to see next because of the field of view. And sometimes I complain about that when it's like either too zoomed in or too far out. I think Solar Jetman got it right in the sense that you can only basically see like if you're in a certain area, you might see like just enough of the cave to know that like, okay, this leads to another, down another fork in the road or whatever. But you wouldn't know that like to your left, there's another area that you can explore as well, unless you went over there. You know what I mean? Like if it was just a bit more zoomed out, there wouldn't be a lot of mystery.
Yeah, I think that you are intended to feel a little bit lost. Even if you're not lost, it's supposed to feel like it's an alien planet. It's something you're not familiar with. And that kind of, I think the one part of it that I, if I had to complain about it, the one thing is like, I don't love when there's an enemy just off screen, like literally just off screen. I wish I could see it, but you can't reconcile that with the fact that I do like not being able to see too far ahead of where I'm going. So it's like, you got to pick one or the other. And I think that this was the right choice because it does feel a little bit like a maze, or like, hey, like part of the thrill of the game is like, am I going to be able to get back to my ship? Do I even remember
exactly
which way I came?
Yeah, that's why I don't have an issue with this. Like, I think, they're also, while I wouldn't say that there are real points of interest on these maps, they are still like easy to create a mental map in your head. And actually, when you're at that market thing between levels, I did see that there was an upgrade, like a map,
there is
a mapper, and I bought it, and then I didn't really know how to use it because I would have expected like a mini map to show up, but that did not happen. I don't know if I just like forgot to do something simple like press start, but
yes, exactly.
Is that
it? Yeah. And then it does show a mini map, which is like funny because it's not using the entirety of the screen to show this map, but like there's nothing else of substance. Like I guess they're trying to make it look like you're like looking at a HUD, looking at a map. So this way it's not, but it's like the map's already kind of small because it's such a large area that you're like, could you bring this in a little more? But yes, you can see basically the map as you're going once you get this mini map thing, which is like, it's another great thing that you don't unlock like incredibly early in the game. Or I guess I should say like right away. It's not something you have. It's something you have to choose to want over other things. And it's not something that you can track in real time. Like you can't see the map and fly around, which I think helps as well, of like a old like, wait, where are we going? And you break out the maps in the car. It's like, I don't know how we ever did that stuff before GPS. Like, I remember I used to print out like MapQuest instructions step by step and like follow them in the car. And I was like, that was probably worse than GPS.
It definitely is worse than GPS, but
no, I meant for like our safety.
yeah.
Like,
but it was good for a sense of direction.
Hey, I got to the mall that day.
I'm notoriously absolutely ruined by GPS. Like I don't know my hometown where I lived my whole life. I don't know how to get around. Like it's just bad. I need to take a month and just don't use my GPS for anything.
Digital detox.
Yes. No podcasts.
Who's gonna say? And I'm Joe.
No, he'll come in on like tape to tape reel.
I'll record 100 and I'm Joe's ahead of time, and then you could just use them whenever you want.
There's no boss fights in the game. The enemies do get tougher, but there's no boss fights in the game. Were you expecting that? Like at the end of each planet, like before the mothership takes off, you gotta like fight a big alien or another big ship?
I thought it was just about this.
Yeah, once I was like, I got the idea of what this is, I think I would have been more surprised if there were boss fights. Because it feels like this is about finding your way in life. This is about GPS.
Apparently, the game is very long. 12 planets. It does take a lot to find everything. I don't know if I'm watching a 100% run here, where they got everything in every planet, but it's 3 hours, and that's pretty long for an NES long play. Obviously, any game could take me longer than 3 hours to beat on the NES, but here we are. When you get to the end of the game and you collect all the pieces of the Golden Warship, do you guys know what happens?
No.
Tell us.
The game becomes a shmup.
Really? So is there a boss?
Is there a boss at the very end?
Yeah.
So basically, the reason the game becomes a shmup is like now you're in the Golden Warship and it's auto scrolling through like a cave and everything, and there's no even like alien enemies. You're shooting like purple. I don't even know how to describe it.
They're like asteroids.
Rocks, yeah,
they
asteroids.
Literally break apart like asteroids.
Okay, because here's why I said I didn't know how to describe it. Eventually, those purple like asteroid-like things open up and have eyes.
Ooh, so we're getting like Lovecraft.
Oh
here.
yeah,
right. And then it's revealed that like actually this whole part of the cave is a final boss. So there is one boss in the game. It is a cave itself. And you have to shoot all of its eyes out as it shoots asteroid projectiles at you.
You know what? I'm watching this as you're describing it, and I really like it. There's kind of a cool design element of like you've been putting together this ship, and now that you have it, like you're gonna go fuck some shit up now.
And you have to fight the very thing you've been traversing through. Like that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I think more so you've been putting like a really small puzzle together that looks like the ship, and now you've got the ship. You weren't doing any kind of like mechanical work.
Well, no, but you found the hidden pieces of the ship that were reasonably scattered throughout the universe.
Quite.
The worst thing that could have happened is you find all the pieces and it just says, congratulations, you found all the pieces, right? Like, it's amazing that they actually were like, and then you can drive the car.
Yeah. From Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, there you go. It is funny, though, that like as soon as you defeat the alien cave thing, there's no like death animation or anything, or like a victory thing. It just immediately flashes to all white text on black. Congratulations, Jetman. You have completed your mission. Time to put your feet up and relax in the comfort of your luxury golden warship. The end.
Oh, it's like a sports car, too.
Yeah. It's just, and then you get to see him, though, and turns out, remember the Space Loonies guy? The guy on the logo for the beer company, the Space Loonies?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's him. He is the Solar Jetman. He has that long-ass jaw.
Well, I mean, I kind of assumed, they all kind of look like that, yeah.
But that's who you've been controlling?
That's who you've been controlling, is the guy who's the Space Looney.
Well, he's one of the Space Loonies. There's probably more like him.
Potato, patata. This is a Rare game, not in the sense that it's hard to find. It's made by Rare.
Yeah, it's cute.
It's great. Apparently, as I mentioned, there are other entries. I didn't look into these at all. Sean, you seem to at least know of Jetpack and Lunar Jetman. Did you check out what kind of game they were?
No.
Great. Who needs to? Not this podcast.
I thought when you said Lunar Jetman before, you were just joking because it was like the opposite of Solar Jetman. I didn't know that was really what it was.
No.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I was pulling that from the Wikipedia. Yeah. Though I did accidentally say Lunarman, like it was his last name.
Okay, now the Russian doll theory is getting kind of scary because in Jetpack there is no ship. He is just in the spacesuit, and it's all on one screen, and you're just kind of like shooting at asteroid projectiles, just trying to stay alive.
Wow.
Yep.
Huh.
But Lunar Jetman, okay, I think we all know where this is going.
It's all on the moon.
It's all on the moon, so no spaceship necessary. You're on a Land Rover.
That's
so
like with wheels?
Yeah, with wheels.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Oh, that's weird.
No, this is great. So, if you did play the other games leading up to this, it's like, finally, we're in a spaceship. Like, we're doing some space stuff. Like, it's kind of neat that they made this series where it's like, no, every game is going to be completely different. Like, it's going to be it's going to be a sci-fi game, and it's going to star our guy, but it's going to be a completely different kind of game. Jetpack is this, like, really arcade shooter game with you're just in your spacesuit. Lunar Jetman all takes place on the ground, and you're like it's a side scroller. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, we have the technology thanks to the NES. Let's make a physics-based spaceship game.
Yeah, I think I've talked on the podcast about, like, I'm okay with there being a good formula for a game and then making a sequel that's just more of that, maybe a little improved. But in this case, I also like the idea that they're like, yeah, we made that game. Let's exercise our creative muscle and say, what would it be like now if this guy was in a ship on a different planet? What would it be like if he had to walk around on the moon and like just design their game around these scenarios? As long as you keep doing it well, that's kind of cool.
Do we get a fourth?
Not that I can see.
Wow.
That's weird, right?
The multiverse. Time travel. Lunar time traveler.
I think all of the Solar Jetman games, though, or whatever this game is called Solar Jetman. So what's the franchise?
The Jetman? The Jetchise.
The Jetchise, yeah.
The Jetverse.
I think everything in the Jetverse is playable on Rare Replay, that game, that Xbox One thing where they were like, finally you can play Banjo-Kazooie again. Like they just keep throwing that in people's faces, like, want to play Banjo-Kazooie again? Like, and these other games?
Not particularly.
Yeah. I want to play Banjo-Kazooie again, but probably when my Analog 3D comes in 2040.
Oh, nice plug.
Yep. Very cool. Yeah, plug for who? We don't get anything from them. That company, famously silent on anything. They will not tell you anything, and then one day...
Are you sure it's not a scam?
No, one day it'll just show up on your door. It's like, here you go. Here's the thing you paid for. You paid in advance. It's on your door. Yeah, it's on your door. It's not even on your doorstep.
They open it up, they put it on top.
It actually goes through. It's like one of those like Bethesda glitches where it's like just floating in between the door. Anyway, legend has it, don't ask me because I don't have a Nintendo Switch online subscription, but apparently you can play Solar Jetman there. So that's like another one where it's like, Rare and Nintendo these days, I mean, at least in the NES days, best friends, making games all the time. I think Rare has like the largest third-party developer for the NES at this rate. They're always releasing games, but lately, now that they're owned by Microsoft, what's Rare's legacy? Is it the Microsoft side or is it the Nintendo side?
It's the Kinect.
There you go. Everybody wanted to play that game on Kinect with the animals where you just pet them.
I like petting animals.
Yeah, and then they got their lunch ate when every video game was like, wait a minute, if we show that you can pet the dog, you'll buy our game. Have you seen that? Like, even in the latest Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, there was like one game that was like, it did a whole trailer, it had the title card, it had the, date that it's going to be released and all the platforms it's going to be on, and they were like, wait. They go back to the game and they just show him petting a dog, and then they're done. That was like the little button at the end of the trailer.
Honestly, if you're gonna have a game that has a cat or a dog in it, like, you better add an interact button to pet the said cat or dog. Like, it's just common knowledge.
I mean, I think that developers are like forcing this into their game because it's so important now. Because I'm pretty sure Hogwarts Legacy, if you go up to a cat and you press pet, it cuts to black and then shows like a scene of you petting the cat.
Cuts to black.
Yeah, I swear. Like, unless I'm misremembering, it was. I'll double check and I'll get back to you next week.
So we've been pretty high on Solar Jetman, but there's no dog or cat to pet.
Automatic fail.
It's pretty weird, right? It's like,
yeah.
I get that they're in space, but they must have figured out how to bring the pets to space. Pets in Space sounds like a Wii shovelware title. I'm out of ideas. Let's do it. The Essential Games list. Somehow we managed to go the entire episode talking very positively about the game. And I think maybe that's because the Essential Games list might be a time where we can air our grievances with the game. I don't have a problem with the physics, or the gravity, the momentum-based controls. I think all that stuff is handled really nicely. I just wonder if, like, the game they built around it is actually interesting enough to hold your attention through 12 alien worlds. I kind of wonder what would have happened if it was just one big alien world, a la, like a Metroid game or something, where you're just in this one big alien world, and you got to find all 12 golden pieces throughout the caves of this world, and you got to manage your fuel and find new fuel depots inside the caves to almost like, Sonic the Hedgehog style, like find the bubbles of air, like find the fuel. I'm redesigning the entire game, which is bad. I shouldn't do that, but that doesn't mean that I hated the game I played. I just don't think the game I played here was enough to push it over the edge for the Essential Games list vote from me, but I think this is a play it for sure. Sean?
Yeah, it's I've been kind of struggling with this one because I kind of don't have any issues with this game. You can, I guess you can sort of criticize that there's a lot, but it's got like a password system, so you can pick up and play whenever you want. So I'm not gonna get a strike for that. I'm not gonna say no to content. And yeah, I just really like the basic premise, and every interaction feels important. And so before I give like a final verdict here, I want to talk about two more modern games that kind of give me the same vibe here. So one is called Hard Space Shipbreaker. It's like one of those work games where you're just a guy that like literally breaks spaceships apart in like a space dry dock, and it's kind of got the same like be very careful and methodical, and if you do a thing wrong, it's going to be a catastrophe and you'll probably blow up. I've spent a lot of time just sort of zoned out doing that. And the second one is a more recent game. One might even call it a meme game called Repo, where you've got like these sort of tractor beams where you're trying to maneuver objects around a space, and then it ends up at certain points turning into like a furniture moving simulator when you get like three people trying to move a thing. It sounds really boring when I describe it, but you know, it can be fun. And that also has like enemies that are like distracting you from doing it well. So it's two very different games, and I think what I'm trying to get at here is these are games that all kind of share similar mechanics, and I think I'm just a sucker for this kind of physics-based mechanic. So I'm gonna vote for this to be added to the Essential Games list.
Joe?
I'm also of the idea that like I don't think there's really much that I can point to that I think is wrong with this game. I think that it's really cool the way that it works, the way that it makes you think differently. It is No, it's definitely not as much in like my niche as what Sean's describing, but it is something that I find fun to kind of like have this style once in a while. I think that this is a great game. I just don't know if it exceeds expectations enough to be like of that level. I feel like I've had votes like this before where I'm like, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I just don't know if it's like it's on my list of like, well, yeah, this is an absolute must play. I think some people would really like it. I think other people would just be like, meh, it's fine. But I think just overall, it's a really good game for being on the NES. And it, I can't think of examples of more modern games that give me the same thing. But like, if I had a modern game on like PS5 that was kind of like this kind of thing, I'd probably also really like it. But I also wouldn't say like this is a must play. Everyone's got to play it. I mean, it's just. I don't think it reaches the level for me as some of our essential games, so I'm gonna keep it off. But I do also think it's a definite play it.
Joe, I think I hear what you're saying. Like mechanically, it all works. There's very little that's frustrating about it, and anything that is frustrating is part of like the designed experience and something that you're designed to overcome. Yeah. But that doesn't.
I think it's well designed.
Right, that doesn't mean that it sparks joy, though, when you're playing it.
Sparks joy.
I mean, I don't know if I'm saying that either, because it does spark joy for me. I do enjoy it. It's just, I just don't think it's S tier for me, you know?
Okay, yeah, okay, that's kind of what I meant, but maybe sparks joy was too light and too Marie Kondo for the conversation.
Too much.
Another, just another point, and Sean, this isn't directed at you, because...
No, I know it's directed at me.
No, this part isn't directed at you, but like Solitaire is a game I have no complaints about, but I don't know if I'm putting that on the Windows 10 essential games list just because I have no complaints about it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, my complaint for Solitaire would be that it's kind of boring.
No.
So that's why I wouldn't use it.
Solitaire is
There
timeless.
needs to be 2 players.
I don't like Solitaire.
Solitaire is timeless.
Sure. But
no,
it's
if
not
I just keep
fun.
if I just keep saying that, you're wrong and I'm right. As long as I say it, it doesn't matter what happens next. If I just like close my ears and say la 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 the whole time, I don't even know how we voted.
Solitaire sucks.
So Solitaire wasn't going to make it on the essential games list because
sucks.
Somebody who liked it wouldn't vote it for it, and somebody who doesn't like it also wouldn't have voted for it. Joe, just out of curiosity, would you have thrown Solitaire on the essential games list?
I mean, I'd have to play Solitaire again, but no, I wouldn't put Solitaire on the essential games list. I used to play it on Windows, but I don't think I ever actually knew how to play it. You know, I think I was just like, hey, click and see the shuffle happen.
You just liked to watch the shuffle.
But, okay, then you must have last played it when you were 6. It's not a hard concept to grasp.
Yeah, I mean, I think okay. I think I was pretty young. All right.
Yeah, no, I love this conversation.
What?
I love this conversation because it's no big deal. Like you're right, Solitaire. It's like
when I first got a computer, it was just cool to see shit happen on the computer.
I vibe with that for sure.
That's why I play all these NES games.
I think that's a great review for Solitaire.
Yeah, so maybe Solitaire goes on like the essential Windows 95 games list.
Solitaire sucks.
Huh.
How do you play Solitaire? Let's use the rest of this episode for this.
The rest of this episode, so basically all the cards, as you mentioned, are shuffled around, and you have to reveal cards at the top that can stack with the proper sequence below them.
I think we should just slowly fade out while Mike is describing Solitaire. And
well, wait till we get to Spider Solitaire. Spider Solitaire is solitaire, but you're in the Forbidden Woods, and then all of a sudden there's spiders everywhere.